Now, I call the next part of the Dinner Special podcast the pressure cooker. I'm going to ask you 7 fast and fun questions that we want to know your answers to. Are you up for it?
Okay.
Perfect. Number 1, which food shows or cooking shows do you watch?
Oh my gosh, I watch whatever's on the cooking channel, but of course, obviously I watch Anthony Bourdain, anything that he does. I watch him on CNN now because I love it, his travel show, and what he does. I also love Ina Garten. She's amazing. The things that she does with food are really wonderful. I also, Mind of a Chef will always be like the most amazing Netflix that, just binge on Mind of a Chef. I could do it over and over because it's so awesome. And a lot of Netflix is definitely. I've had a lot of really amazing food inspiration on Netflix. Your Dreams of Sushi and
Yep.
all the really good ones that are on there that are just incredible.
Great. Number 2, what are some food blogs or websites we have to know about?
Oh my gosh, there are so many good ones out there. There's so many great people making good food. I mean, I love all the big ones. I love Joy the Baker. I love Not Without Salt. I love Smitten Kitchen. She's just incredible. Every single recipe I've ever tried. I don't even know how she does it, but every single recipe that she makes on Smitten Kitchen is just out of this world good. Such good ones. And I feel like there are always, awesome ones that I'm discovering too. Like Lady and Pups is really a cool one that does some awesome things, and I love. My name is Jay, and all, awesome newer people as well. Who are,
Right.
not totally new, but just doing crazy amazing things. I'm
Right.
blown away by the blogosphere and all the great cooking being done.
Oh, totally, totally. Me too. Now, number 3, who do you follow on Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube that make you happy?
Oh my gosh, so many people. On Pinterest and Instagram, I'm on there all the time. My friend Daily Something is really awesome. She like her children are the cutest, and her, what she does with, she just lives in Virginia close to me. What she does on her Instagram is just blows me away. Um, and so many great photographers like with hearts, who really, are so inspiring, and also are are often in the Pacific Northwest and remind me of home, and are just so incredible. On Pinterest, there are so many people who are awesome as well, and so prolific. I mean, like Local Milk, obviously, I follow her on Instagram. She's amazing on Instagram, but she's also really prolific on Pinterest, and has this awesome Pinterest account that is constantly, putting out, making me discover new awesome things that are really, really cool. And I definitely like the social media every time. I'm always on my phone way too much.
Now, number 4, what is the most unusual or treasured item you have in your kitchen?
Oh, so we have the one slightly unusual item that. So I have a thing. I love. I love picking up vintage things. I love bringing vintage things home, and you don't always use them. Sometimes they just sit around and they're props or whatever they might be. And I've stolen every little weird vintage thermometer and various things from my grandma's kitchen, and have them in my drawers. But one that we have is a juicer that we use constantly, which is actually vintage. And every time I use it, I think it's going to fall apart because it's so old, but it's also so effective and fantastic. And it really just, like, it has a handle, and you can squeeze down the handle and juice, and it's a very, very, very good vintage juicer
Yeah.
that we probably don't need in our kitchen, but I like having it.
No, and they don't make things like they used to, because I mean those vintage things, that'll last forever.
They don't. It's solid. It's so solid. And I'm always, I'm so paranoid because it's so old, but it's amazing. And actually, in our new kitchen, another amazing thing that we have is behind me, which is this stove that's terrible. It's so old, and it doesn't look very fancy, but darn it if that thing isn't beast. And it cooks a darn good pie.
Yeah.
And although eventually I may have to replace it, I might replace it with a vintage stove because it's so impressive the way that it works. It's really, really great.
Great. Number 5. Name one ingredient you used to dislike that you now love.
A food.
Yep. Could be anything.
A food that so corn. I love it. I love it if it's made a certain way. When I grew up not liking corn at all, it was like the one thing that I've never been a really picky person. I eat a lot of foods. I'm really, pretty open to almost like put anchovies on something. I'm totally fine. I like all of the things. I taunt my husband with pickles or with olives because he hates olives, and I love them. But I never really liked corn, which is sort of a pretty basic food that I think that growing up, I just never, I just maybe never had quite it cooked in a way that I really liked it. And as I've grown up, I have found that the fresher the corn, the better. And there are definitely, awesome things that you can do to corn, like chili lime seasoning, or like things that are really good that make it a much more awesome dish that I wouldn't necessarily say that I love it now, but I like it a lot more than I did when I was younger.
But what about like corn tortillas or like cornbread?
Okay, so that's a totally different story. Okay. You process that corn and I'll eat it all day long. It's delicious, especially cornbread.
Right. Perfect. Now, number 6, what are a few cookbooks that make your life better?
I was just showing you my cookbooks. I have my cabinet here, but there's this one. Sugar Rush is a fairly new cookbook that I'm so impressed by because the level of detail in the cooking and in the sort of breaking down the processes that make for a good pastry kitchen are really broken down in a way that's just so awesome. But also, I've always had, like my Better Homes and Gardens cookbook and my like older, the ones that I've had sitting around forever that my mom got me when I first moved out of the house, and will always be on my shelf. Those are some that I return to the most often because they're really, they're just those staples that you have in the kitchen, and they have these recipes that you can take and you can run with them, as far as you want to run with them and make them crazy. And that's something that I always love doing.
Right. Now, finally, number 7, you mentioned that you love music. So what song or album just makes you want to cook?
The song or album right now that makes me want to do all of the things and get up and jump around is Shaky Graves' new album. He is pretty awesome, and every song on there is really good. And we saw him last year in this tiny little venue. We loved going up to Newport Folk Fest, Newport, Rhode Island, and he was there and really knocked our socks off. So that lately, when I'm in the kitchen, that's what's been playing on my speakers.
Great. Shaky Graves, right?
Shaky Graves.
Okay, check it out. Cool. Congratulations, Laicie. You have officially survived the pressure cooker.